Tucker Carlson says that the black woman that Biden has nominated to be the next US Supreme Court justice needs to show him her LSAT scores. Here's the video.
Then Biden went on to mention someone called Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now that's not a name most Americans know because Ketanji Brown Jackson has been an appellate judge for less than a year. But Joe Biden assured us she is, quote, one of our top legal minds. Watch.
We all know one of the most serious constitutional responsibility a president has is nominating someone to serve on the United States Supreme Court. As I did 4 days ago, I've nominated the Circuit Court of Appeals, Ketanji Brown Jackson, one of our nation's top legal minds.
So is Ketanji Brown Jackson, a name that even Joe Biden has trouble pronouncing, one of the top legal minds in the entire country? We certainly hope so. Biden's right. Appointing her is one of his gravest constitutional duties. So it might be time for Joe Biden to let us know what Ketanji Brown Jackson's LSAT score was. What hell did she do in the LSATs? Why wouldn't he tell us that? That would settle the question conclusively as to whether she's a once-in-a-generation legal talent, the next learned hand. It would seem like Americans in a democracy have a right to know that and much more before giving her a lifetime appointment, but we didn't hear that.
She's smarter than those other white men on the bench, I guarantee you that. So let's go ahead and dig into what's happening here. You know, we have had US Supreme Court justices who didn't even have a law degree. 100% of them were white men. They never went to law school, did not have a JD. They were able to be appointed, approved, and became Supreme Court justices. Tucker Carlson has never requested this additional information from anybody else on the bench. But there is a disturbing pattern here. Now, here's what Tucker may not know. The American Bar Association, they're the ones who place the mandate of what needs to happen before a person gets into law school. Well, the LSAT is just one test. The ABA actually says it has to be a standardized test of some sort. She passed the bar. That's the test to become an attorney. And she does have a long legal history, not only as a judge, but also as a federal public defender, beating the government against their brightest minds as well. All right, let me give you a recap here. She currently serves on the US Supreme Court. Judge Jackson is an appeals court judge for the District of Columbia. During his presidential campaign, Biden pledged that he would nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. Last week, he delivered on that pledge after Justice Stephen Breyer announced he will retire. Notably, there is no record, ladies and gentlemen, no record of Tucker Carlson publicly demanding to see the LSAT scores of anybody else. But back in 2009, remember Buchanan? Let's put up a picture of Buchanan, just in case you forgot what he looks like. Buchanan in 2009 attacked Judge Sotomayor in a very similar way. Here's the quote. "This is bigotry, pure and simple. To salve their conscience for past societal sins, the Ivy League is deep into discrimination again. This time with white males as victims rather than as beneficiaries. One prefers the old bigotry. At least it was honest and not, as Abraham Lincoln observed, adulterated with the base alloy of hypocrisy." I mean, that's a fancy way to say, man, you racist as hell, bro. You gotta think about what Buchanan is saying here. It gets deeper. He also added nonsense by saying, thus Sotomayor got into Princeton, got her #1 ranking, was whisked into Yale Law School, made editor of the Yale Law Review, all because she was a Hispanic woman. What? And those Ivy League institutions cheated more deserving students. He means white people. Cheated more deserving students of what they had worked a lifetime to achieve for reasons of race, gender, and ethnicity. Well, here's the reality. She got into Yale because she won Princeton's #1 academic prize. He probably knew that, I'm sure, just did not bother to check. All right, Adrienne, what are your thoughts on this? Racism, or am I out of line calling out Tucker Carlson?
Oh, you're not out of line at all. This is absolute racism. It's structural racism, which really hinges on this thought that Black people and brown people are inferior, that we're not as intelligent or intellectual. And so, just we see the hypocrisy without question. But on top of that, there is this thought that, oh, well, we just want to make sure she's qualified, which is completely and totally a farce. Because what's really going on is this implicit message that no, Black people must be beneath us. They cannot be qualified. They are of a lower degree of people, and thus to have them in these white spaces is the problem. And so that's what Tucker Carlson is really getting at here. And the fact is that we do know that there have been many Supreme Court justices who had no law degree whatsoever, 60 of them in fact, and they were all white men. And also, as far as the LSAT goes, like I don't even remember my LSAT score because no one brings it up because no one cares. It's like me citing the high school I went to. What? It doesn't matter at all. And Tucker Carlson knows that, but he's still playing on this because this Judge Jackson, is an affront to white supremacy just by virtue of how far she has excelled and the things she can accomplish and do.
Yeah, well said. And when people say things like most qualified is always a very subjective standard. It depends on who you are. There's little objectivity in that. It depends on what's the most qualification for you, all right? What's most qualified for you? And let's be very clear, the people that are now questioning Judge Jackson are people that voted for Donald Trump to be president of the United States. And they are talking about qualification.